the parable of the Good Samaritan. So the motto, outside charity there is no salvation, start with this: how to love God, how to love ourselves, how to love our neighbors. But then, what the Spiritism says about charity? Here's the question. 886, where we're going to see what is the true meaning of the word charity, as understood by Jesus.
Very important to understand the meaning. So then the virtues like compassion and the love will make sense why they have to happen before you can practice charity, right?
Yes. Do you remember the answer?
Benevolence and kindness, indulgence for other shortcomings, and quick to forgive.
Oh,
Golden star.
Yeah, benevolence toward everyone, indulgence toward the imperfections of others, and forgiveness of offenses. This is the charity that Jesus practiced. So, has to do with giving to others, has to do with volunteer to work in a shelter or any other volunteer work that we are going to help others. That's totally fine. That's exactly that, but it's more than that. It's moral. Because if I'm doing all this help, I'm there helping others, but I'm not practicing the benevolence towards my family members, if I'm not being indulgent towards imperfections of others, criticizing, judging, if I'm not forgiving the offenses, so maybe I'm not practicing the charity as understood by Jesus. And let's just remember, question 625, who is the model or guide that God gave us to follow? Jesus. So he is our model. So when we are, all right, what I should do this, or what I should do in this situation, or shouldn't do, look at Jesus, what he would do. Right? So the Good Samaritan shows that. So he saw the fallen man. He moved all his resources, moral, material. He treated the wounds from this fallen man. He took his man, put in his horse, took to a hotel or a place, paid for his treatment there. And he had never met that man before. Was not a brother of his, was not a friend, was just a person. So Jesus was showing there to the doctor of the law and all of us, who is the other in our lives? However, how can I be benevolent towards everyone, indulgent to the other's imperfection, unforgiveness of any other's offenses towards me? How can I practice that if I don't feel it? Because there are two levels of knowledge. So one, it's this. We are informing you all about this. What is charity? What is compassion? Where we can find that in in the Bible, in the Gospel, in what Spiritism says about that, but if I don't reflect upon this and bring it to my heart, this doesn't make any sense for me. I don't apply to my life. So there are two levels of knowledge: information, reflection, and then I can leave. So to pass here to here, it starts in my heart. I need to feel that. And how do I feel that? Emmanuel, and in the book, it's very challenging to say this word in English, but let's go. Let's try. Reliquary of light.
Okay, now we can translate to say it in English the best way.
This is reliquary.
Oh, yeah, reliquary.
Reliquary. It's like those pendants that we have a picture inside that we open. So
Oh, a locket.
a
Locket
locket.
would be a better.
Thank you.
Much easier word.
That's all right.
That's probably the
Because he
translation.
was like,
Just kind of think, what is that? Oh.
easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's more like, I can relate, because a lot of kids, even kids would say that, like.
In Portuguese, it's more common, relicário.
Yeah.
It's a kind of
I
understand.
thought really, reliquary in Portuguese, it had more like a religious meaning. But I might be wrong. Okay, we don't have to extend about what means locket.
It's not exactly the point here.
Just
Let's
that
come
made
back.
me think, that's what I was looking at.
That's the name of the text, okay? Relicário of de Luz. So Emmanuel says that the text actually entitled, "Let's start with ourselves." And then he says, good works begin with ourselves. We will educate others by educating ourselves. So I'm sure everyone here have heard before, we cannot give to anyone what we don't have. Right? So charity, compassion, love, forgiveness, benevolence, everything starts with us to us first. The charity that will save the world must first regenerate us. So let's go out to meet the Master, loving, learning, and serving. And the Master will come to meet us today or tomorrow. So here, we have a reference. Emmanuel is giving us a reference when he says, meet the Master. It's a reference from the Gospel. Anyone remember that? Which meet the Master here is related to?
You mean a passage from the Gospel?
Yeah, a passage from the Gospel.
Come to me, those that are. No?
Okay.
Come on, you can-
Okay, we're going to meet the Master towards others. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I lacked shelter, and you gave me lodging. I was naked, and you clothed me. Matthew chapter 25. So meet the Master, loving, learning, serving. So the Master will meet us. Because when we develop these virtues inside of us, naturally, we'll go to others. Naturally. Not automatically. Naturally. Because automatically, it's not a feeling that it is a virtue, because virtue, they ask us to reflect and to act with our hearts. Automatically, it's something that I do and I don't feel. So when we are touched by the compassion feeling, these are going to touch us. These are going to make us feel the greatest feeling to help others. These words drive our movements, not to humiliate anyone, not to make the other person feels bad. No, makes us to act with compassion and charity. So Jesus,
May I make a comment about that?
of course,
So when you say that it will eventually come naturally, and I was thinking just about something that happened to me today, and as I was starting, anyways, I won't say what it is, just it'll take too long. But sometimes I feel like if we know what is the right thing to do, even though we're not doing that naturally yet, but we know we can by educate ourselves and starting to act upon that, even though we're not feeling that way, but we know that's the right thing to do because we understand, and when we do, we feel good. So I feel like we can change it. Maybe my initial, let's say I see some situation, I think, well, but the person, they plant that seed, now they're sowing. They sow that seed and now they're collecting what they planted. But then I can immediately change to a more compassionate way, or well, but my thought or that situation won't help. So how can I help them? So by thinking and changing my way to think and my way to deal with situation, I think it can be a start of changing the way I'm doing things, and eventually, hopefully, will start coming natural. Right, so I just, because saying like, oh, we have to learn this, but if we're not feeling it, as you said, we know here, but we don't feel yet, we can educate our feelings too to get to that point.
Yes.
If we understand that is important, right? Because sometimes I just feel like, oh, I'm so far away from that, I'm not gonna do it, but feeling that I'm an apprentice and I can learn those virtues too, by practicing it, even when I'm not necessarily feeling it, it's a way to get to the end, to the goal, which is feel compassion naturally, to feel all the virtues naturally, right?
Well, thank you so much.
So I just want to try that because I'm just like, I feel so far away from that.
Fake it till you make it.
And I heard a sense this last week says, action comes before motivation. And I don't know if I agree 100% with that, but sometimes we want something, but we don't feel motivated, but we start act upon it to work towards that, then eventually motivation will come. I don't know if it's right or not, but made me think about it. But that's another conversation.
What you say is the intention, right?
Yeah, exactly.
When we have the intention to help, we, even though we are not feeling all the feelings, because virtues, they are feelings that we start developing ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's not something that goes from 0 to 10, goes to gradually,
Yes, exactly.
start gradually motivating us. When we do one thing first, one act first, so that act will motivate us to keep acting, and then the feeling will come.
Exactly.
Right. And I totally understand that, and you're going to talk about that later.
Oh, sorry.
The next ones. No, thank you for bringing this up. And I just would like to something interesting that I found, like in the Bible, in the Gospel, there is also this term that Jesus was moved with deep compassion many times, in many situations. So I was curious to know how many times and which times, and I was able to find only in the books of Mark, Matthew, and Luke, 12 times that Jesus was described as moving towards somebody, and also 7 times where he was concreting, saying that. So it's really interesting to see this is how Jesus acted towards others with deep compassion. And I was curious to know what deep compassion means. And deep compassion was written in Greek, the word that I'm not able to say, splagchinosmai, something like that, and was described as he ate himself from inside. Deep compassion, described in Greek, was he was really feeling that compassion. Sometimes the gospel describes Jesus crying with compassion. So it's great that we know that we know about compassion, about charity, but what are the intentional ways that we can develop that? So Anna just provided us some information here, but then let's follow what Emmanuel is saying. Let's start with ourselves. So self-compassion means treating ourselves the way you would treat a friend who is going through a hard time, even if that friend made a mistake, feels inadequate, or is simply facing a difficult moment in life. Well, why we use here a friend to talk about self-compassion? Because normally we treat our friends, our family members, better than we treat ourselves. Most of the time, we judge ourselves. We harshly criticize ourselves. Every time that we commit a mistake, we are very tough with ourselves. And out there are lots of people with anxiety, depression, mental health problems because we are being very bad with ourselves, not understanding that we are apprentices. We are here to learn. Who told us that we need to be perfect?
We.
We. Perfectionism. I need to do this. This needs to be perfect. I need to present this in my company, and the presentation needs to be perfect. And most of the time, it's in the work environment. We compare ourselves with others. We self-criticize us all the time. Oh, so-and-so did a beautiful presentation. I need to do better than him or her. Oh, I need to do exactly how the person is expecting, my boss is expecting me to do. But are we inside of our bosses' head to know how they want us to do? And then we lost authenticity. We don't see how unique we are, the way that we are. We don't embrace ourselves most of the time. So that's the reason that sometimes it's important for us to treat ourselves as we would treat a good friend. What if a good friend come to us and say, hi, I did this and that mistake, we would be like, oh, you are so dumb. Why did you do that?
No, we may not say, sometimes we might think.
Yes.
But we would not say it.
But we're going to say others. So that's how we educate ourselves.
So that shows that we can educate ourselves.
We
Right? Like,
can.
we can choose to say things or not.
Just we need to be aware of our own thoughts. What have I been telling to myself? I'm trying to be compassionate to myself. I'm trying to comply with the divine law in my conscience, the law of compassion. So this is a question that important for us to ask ourselves. However, you might be thinking, okay, but the self-compassion doesn't mean that, okay, I'm doing like a poor work, a poor thing, and then That's okay. I'm not gonna be like, not a very good worker or not a very good person because I'm not gonna be doing what I'm supposed to do. It's very different. Self-pitying is very different from self-compassion. Self-pitying is when we feel incapable or victim of life. Oh, I cannot do that. Oh, I am so, no, I cannot do that. I don't see myself doing that. I'm very distant from this. Or when we see ourselves, or when we go to this is one side of the balance. Then when we go straight to the other one, self-demand. I want to be perfect. All the time. All the time. And I used to say, I do everything wrong. Everything that I do is wrong. So I need to do everything perfect. We go to the super general. I need to do everything. I do nothing wrong. I do nothing right. I do everything wrong. So we super generalize. So we face our imperfections with judgment, with condemnation, and punishment. Then we go to the guilt feeling. What we're saying here is self-compassion is the person that recognizes, that has imperfections, everybody, all of us, we have imperfections, but we also have potentials inside of us. Each of us, we have potentials that we can develop, and we can focus on those potentials instead focus on our imperfections. The imperfections is important for us to know so we can transform them, so we can work towards them. We can see what is the virtue that I am invited to develop in myself. However, it's important to know that we have those virtues already inside of us. That's just waiting for us to develop them. Jesus also said that to us. You are lights. You are gods. You can do everything that I do and better. Because we have that. We have. The kingdom of heaven is inside of you. It's not there, it's not here, it's inside of you. So we have those virtues in ourselves. We just need to pay attention of them instead be criticizing ourselves, being beating and complaining about ourselves all the time. Right? Seeing us as apprentices of life, God's children that have all the potentials to be angels, to develop this compassion feeling and get closer to the angels. But starts with ourselves.
Goes back to what you were saying about the locket, and I'm not even going to try to say the Portuguese. I'm happy to help everyone with English, and you all can help me with Portuguese. But it's like you said, it's it's there, and it's something we can open, and then there's a picture inside. There's something there for us to find, to locate within ourselves and experience.
Wow, yeah.
We come together across language.
Wonderful.
There you go.
That's why lockers, everyone.
Yeah.
Lockets.
Lockets. Yeah, they put inside of the lockets. Compassion. Ooh, ooh.
Arthur mentions when he's talking about compassion, he says that when we are invited to practice compassion, is God knocking in our heart's door, asking us to be his instrument. I thought that was very insightful and beautiful, because it's every time within ourselves or anyone else, is God saying, hey, can you help me so I can help you as well, and you can help your brother. So I thought it was a very good way for him to put compassion in all spheres, in all places, from us and to others.
Yeah, I was gonna say that yesterday I watched a movie on Netflix. If you guys have Netflix, I highly recommend it. It's called Straw. straw. And it's amazing because it really teaches you the kind of world we are living today without compassion. And in the movie, there are some specific characters that they show compassion for whatever happens to the person. That movie, and it's amazing. It's a lesson for us as humans. So if you got a chance, I highly recommend it. It's not an easy movie to watch. There's a lot of things. Yes. But at the end of the day, it really teaches you it teaches about compassion, I guess, and our humanity, and how much the world is really thirsty for that,
Oh, yes. That's for
and how we can change.
change with
It's
ourselves.
up to us. Yes.
Starts with ourselves.
Yeah.
Is like Michael Jackson used to say, is with the man in the mirror.
Yeah.
It's the women in the mirror.
Yeah, that's right.
So, the feeling of compassion begins with an strict desire, like Anna, the intention, to fulfill our higher mission, that is, to fulfill God's will for all His creatures. What is the mission that we bring in our conscience again? Question 115.
Ultimately find happiness.
Yeah. Right? Let's read again, just to remind.
Yes.
God created all spirits simple and ignorant. That is to say, without knowledge. He gives each of them a mission with the goal of enlightening themselves and progressing gradually, slowly, towards perfection. So it's gradually. Nobody's perfect. Nobody. Through the knowledge of the truth. What is the truth? Divine laws. And the practice of good. It is through their free will that some advance more rapidly, while others delay their progress by choosing evil. We are apprentices. We are here to comply with this goal in our conscience. We are God's children. We are immortal spirits. This is just one station of our long journey towards perfection. That each one of us may reach happiness by evolving, by deep self-awareness and understanding of the purpose of our existence. So this brings meaning to our lives. When we help others, that brings meaning to our lives. I'm doing something good. This enlightens our hearts, like Kairar Shuto said. This brings kind, love, meaning to our lives. All right, and if this is not enough for you guys to know why it's important to practice compassion and charity in our lives, science is already suggesting that compassion may be, the most important thing in our lives. The most important feeling in our lives. This is a study from the University of Stanford in California that brings us 10 reasons why compassion is important. First, makes us happy as getting money. So, giving activities, the brain's pleasure centers, is like receiving money or treats, like a kid receiving a treat. That's the reason that trick and treats is so popular here.
Yeah.
Makes us happier than buying things for ourselves. When we buy things for others, it's not so good. We don't feel pleasure when we're choosing something that will please somebody. So spending on others brings more happiness than spending in ourselves. Makes us attractive. Kindness is universally attractive trait in potential romantic partners. Those that are
Looking for be compassionate.
Be compassionate. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It uplifts everyone around us. Witnessing acts of compassion inspire others and creates a ripple effect of goodness. It's so good when we see somebody acting towards another person. There are lots of videos that are showing when somebody do something, if there's somebody that is asking for help and somebody gets closer, other people that are passing around, some of them will stop and try to help as well. It spreads like wildfire. Generosity is contagious and often sparks chain reactions of giving. When somebody's doing something, like GoFundMe things, when we put some images there, the people that need help, that it's a chain reaction. Everybody wants to help, at least with a little bit. It boosts our health and longevity. Helping others is linked to better health, increased happiness in a longer life. It gets us out of anxiety. Shifting focus from ourselves to helping others can lift us out of sadness or anxiety. So I highly recommend for people that are passing through a sadness moment, go there, help others. It will make you feel better, feel useful, and in big meanings to our lives. It's the most natural thing. Why? Because this is in ourselves.
If we're sons of God,
We are
God is
compassion.
the best representation of compassion. So do we.
You see kids, right? Like sometimes someone is crying, they don't even know why. The kids just gather around, they want to help, they don't even know. It could be someone that maybe hurt them
Yes.
a few moments earlier, and they just go because they just connect with that. Oh, someone is crying, so they might be sad or something. I want to make it better.
Yeah.
Right? So,
And it's funny because the same thing happens to animals sometimes.
Mhm.
Dogs, for example, like the
Yeah.
dogs, it's like they know when you need them.
When we're not feeling good.
Yeah, they just come by you and stay with you. It's impressive.
It gives us more time. Helping others makes us feel that we have more time available. It's more productive. We feel that we did a lot. Oh, I did a lot today. I went to see this person that was having some troubles. I helped somebody here. I helped somebody there. And feels that you are really working, doing something that is really useful. And let's remember, work, as according with the spirits, is something that is useful. Do something, when we're doing something that is useful, we are working. It's good for the environment. Helping others makes us feel, actually spreading kindness benefits not just people, but society and the planet as a whole. So the world really needs compassion. So here is the science saying how the feelings that we can experience, how our brains work towards this beautiful feeling, this beautiful emotion that we have for ourselves and for others. So let's do what Jesus asks us to do. Love your neighbor as yourself. Showing compassion to ourselves first, and then to others. Always having us as reference.
Thank
Is there
you.
any questions?
Yeah, thank you so much. I just wanted to share one thing that happened to me yesterday, super quick. I went to Walmart and it was like raining a lot, and I got one of those paper bags to put my stuff. And so I was walking to my car, and out of the blue, like my bag just
Exploded.
exploded. Exactly. And it was funny because like two guys, they were just coming by, and they immediately, like very naturally, they said, do you need help? So they, no, everything, actually, no, I'm lying, because everything was on the floor, and they didn't ask if I needed help. They just started picking up the things, gave to me, and said, are you good? I said, no, I'm good, thank you very much. And then I walked to my car, just out of the blue. I didn't have to say anything, and they didn't ask, oh, do you need help? No, they saw that I needed help,
Yeah.
and they just did it. They were like,
Yeah.
it blew my mind. I said, wow,
This is natural.
It's natural, it's so natural.
See, you don't need to, like Chico Xavier used to say, we don't need to climb the Everest Mount. He's not asking us that. He was just
There's no
asking,
PhD for compassion. We
no,
don't have we don't need a
Exactly.
PhD for
No.
compassion. We're born with it.
yeah, it's natural. We just need to show that in our daily days, but also to ourselves, because the main point here is starts with ourselves. So let's stop beating us. Let's stop being criticizing us. Let's try to embrace us and practice self-compassion. Because if we want to see this world a better place, it starts with ourselves. We cannot give what we don't have.
We need to be better.
We need to be better to us first.
Yeah.
And then naturally, all this will happen. Naturally, we'll be loving our neighbors, loving God, practicing the virtue that Jesus exemplified so much and so many times, helping.
And it's the best teacher too. Sometimes I feel we overlook that is that, or sorry, I shouldn't say that, I certainly overlook it, let me put it that way, is that, you know, the idea that we look after ourselves first, oftentimes, you know, when we are trying to help others or, you know, maybe educate or support others or help them grow, you know, we think we have to put something into them. We have to, you know, instill them with some sort of a virtuous behavior, some good quality that they'll want to emulate. And that can work. I mean, teaching is based on that premise. You know, you say stuff and then students are just supposed to take it all in. But increasingly it seems like when they, you know, anecdotally and I imagine even studies too, is that when they look at what actually instills change in people, it's not something being put into them, it's them seeing an example of something that they will want in their own lives naturally, that they then just adopt. And so oftentimes people can be what they see in others. So if you really want to change people, if you really want to change the world, like actually change people around you, you change yourself and just start emulating that, they will be drawn to change themselves. And so you'll get much farther. Getting back to your point, it's so much more natural and so much more cohesive than the other attempt, which is I try to thrust something out from here over to the group, because again, it'll only work insofar as they're willing to embrace that. And the irony is, as soon as you stop trying to make them embrace everything, they embrace everything naturally because they're just seeing it. And I think that science oftentimes is getting to the point where they're starting to recognize this. I'll never forget, this is years back now, and there was a study, I think it was from anthropologists, going back to what you were saying about animals. And there's beavers, and beavers are very familial groups. That's why they all have their own dens, and they keep to themselves, but they don't oftentimes like interrelate with other groups. And there was a story that there was a group of beavers that were being, you know, preyed upon by wolves or something like that, that were unrelated to another group. And in order to warn the other group, one of the beavers from the other group went over to the water and started banging his tail on the water to draw attention to this other group. And, you know, biologically and evolutionarily, there would be no, because by doing that, he was letting the wolves know where he was, and then they could go after him. And it wasn't his, you know, community. So there was no significant benefit to it. And I just remember the reflections from the people trying to go through like some sort of intellectual gymnastics, how to explain that from an evolutionary perspective, why the beaver would have done this, because in the end, it ended up like putting his entire group at danger. And to your point about natural, well, just because maybe he saw that other group in need and chose to do something, even if it it marginalized his own life. But that answer requires looking at it something more, looking at it from something more than just, my selfish interest in, evolving and procreating and making something more tangibly. And so I think it's getting to this idea that there is something underneath the surface, as all of us here seem to, celebrate and learn about every week, that's just ready to come up, ready to just fill up the whole top of the experience if we just allow it to, And so there's something beautiful to that I just it just flew out of me from everything you said. So thank you, Sonia.
Thank you. That's good to know. With that inspired a little bit. Your thoughts. It's good.
And you see this when like you have interesting interactions with people that are like in a very low energy. And you just like kind of look at them and like, oh, you're going through something. I am gonna be like compassionate and I'm not like gonna react. And then when you do that, you see that the person kind of like notices that, oh, okay, I'm being a little too much here. Like maybe I should just like take some time, and actually like the other way around too. Like when you're like in a low energy and someone like is like very kind and compassionate to you, like, well, you're going through something. You don't need to talk about it right now, but like I'll give you the chance to like think about it.
Yeah.
And like that reminds me of a lot of videos that I've seen. Like probably everyone has seen a video like this, but like different contexts of like when someone like is just walking around on the street and then like just does a good thing, like I don't know, like helping someone to like cross the street or something, and then like someone like sees that and they start like just thinking, oh, that was really cool. Maybe like I'm just gonna take that good energy for myself and like start like kind of spreading it, around to other people throughout the day. So
This helps like lots of those type of actions when you pay a coffee for somebody.
Yes.
You're on the drive-through, right? I'm gonna leave like a coffee paid for the people that are
Yeah.
coming. So this is kind of spreading because oh, you got a coffee. Okay, I'm gonna leave a coffee paid for the other one that's coming. So it's a chain reaction.
And pay it forward.
Yeah.
Pay it forward.
Osvaldo says that leading by example is not the best way. It's the only way. It's just
Yeah.
he pauses and
Summarize,
everybody's
yeah.
like, what? It's the only way.
I was gonna say because that's the way we learn as babies.
Yeah.
It's like doing whatever parents do and others do.
Yes. So why do we think then they have the question 625, who is our model and
That's true.
guide? Very true, because we learn from them. So here are the bibliographical references, guys. Gospels. This seminar is great.
This is the
Yeah. Spirit's book, Gospel.
It's really very.
Oh, wow. I've never seen it. Learn something today.
If you want to read one of those books or know a little bit more or getting deep in this talking, just talk to
We're talking
you.
about that word with
Yes.
really clarity.
Reliquary, yeah, let's talk. I can see better now, reliquary.
We need a full person talking about really very.
A full talk.
Full talk, a full talk, yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's close our eyes once again. Raise our thoughts and hearts. And say thank you. Thank you, Master Jesus, for these teachings today, where we learned a little bit more about being compassionate. That we learned how to spread love and caring in our world that needs so much this feeling nowadays. Let's start with ourselves. Being compassionate, being loving to ourselves, so we can go to our neighbors. Thank you all the spirituality that helped us with the reflections today. Help us to spread this feeling in our society, in our family, by example. Help us, support us in our efforts to develop the virtues of our hearts, Master Jesus. Thank you again for your help and your blessings to our communities, be with us now and forever. So be it. So be it.